Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Laughing Stock. Happy Tuesday. We are finally, I swear this is the last time we're going to say this. It is finally got to be down to the end here. We got another 8K today telling that they basically had one more day to work on whatever their filing is going to be, whatever their amendment's going to be. So we finally reached the end. We're going to get some news tomorrow. We don't have to keep saying this over and over and sit here waiting. You've heard Johnny with his he's got waiting songs from every band out there playing. It's I'm gonna start drinking more beer if I have to wait any longer. It's time we get some real news, get some action. Let's figure out what's really going on here. And I'll delve through everything that people are saying in general, because there's a lot of comments on a bunch of different forums and stuff, and everyone's kind of got their opinions. I would say overall, most of us are pretty bullish, but obviously we're bullish because we're long, so it's a little biased in that. But there was some people who brought up some other points, but it's still kind of the same thing. We'll just have to see. Although the way the wording of it was written sounded good to me, it didn't sound like anything. It just sounded like they were going to refinance. It sounded like a straight refinance to me. So we'll see, but we'll delve through all that stuff as the stream goes on. We got a full pack. I got a bunch of tickers to look at. I just updated the dashboard, so we'll start there. We'll go through the dashboard. Then we'll probably hop over to BNED and start going through some of that. If you have anything to add, that you any questions, thoughts, it sounds like we're kind of down to the wire here. We got about 25 minutes till the post-market closes, so not that is hugely indicative of anything going on, but let me see. Where's it at right now? So a little up after hours, but I mean, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's 70 some cents. It's kind of where it's ended, and everyone at this point, volume is decent today. Average volume's been kind of creeping down the past week or so, I noticed, or even month maybe. I don't really know. And it was over 1 million at one point, but still, I mean, we're here finally. So we should get news tomorrow. It might be after close tomorrow, which whatever, but They're trying to iron out whatever their contract is or whatever they're working on. They're trying to iron that out and finish up. So we'll see. We'll see what it is. And I have a good feeling about it. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but to me, it just doesn't make sense that you would go this route and then declare bankruptcy. But or even if there is share dilution, which I know is some people's concern, I don't find that all that concerning. I find that means we'll get through this point, they'll become free cash flow positive, and then earnings per share. Or just per share metrics, relative valuation means that it's going to be worth more anyways. It's worth more in the fact, even if it's diluted, based on the fact that they're going to be a better company. Like, you're going from losing money to gaining money. No matter what, that's going to improve the share price, regardless of if there's even like pretty pretty intense dilution from what I calculate, the way I calculate it. But who cares? We'll keep going here. Looking at the dashboard today, it looks like there wasn't too much. There's a few big movers here. Zinc and coffee are bouncing around. I haven't looked at zinc, I think, in a while. I don't know what zinc's doing. According to this, zinc's up. So I don't know. Is this maybe this is an ETF versus some kind of future contract? Or no, is it down? It says it's green. I guess it ended up, but I don't know why it says down on my my dash here. I'll have to double check that, make sure that's the correct thing there. Sometimes this one, because of where I pull it in, it pulls in differently randomly on some days. I don't know what's with the website, but it's so maybe some of these numbers are off. I'll have to double check that. But other than that, cocoa still, this thing's above 10. Yeah, so maybe, well, no, but it should be, I mean, I don't know. It's back at 9. Maybe it didn't update. Be weird, though. The price updated, but the percentage change didn't update. I don't know. Either way, doesn't really matter. Like I said, we're just bouncing around. We'll see. Is anything in the risk column moving around? NVIDIA is backing up a little bit. Canopy's finally starting to slow some of that heat that it's thrown off here. I don't know if they'll be able to break out anymore in here. Just look at a 1-year chart. I mean, either way, if it starts trading at like $8, I mean that's pretty good for Canopy, at least in my opinion. Yeah, Bitcoin's just shy of 70. Sabine Stillwater's up a little. Transocean's down a little. Yeah, otherwise not too crazy. Shipping's back up. It looks like it had a decent day. But yeah, my percentages must not have got updated because it looks like they're all the stuff from whatever happened yesterday it's now showing today. Although that's a... Yeah, it must be. It must be backwards for some reason. That's weird. Whatever. Or was that one up? No, that one was up. Okay, so maybe it must just be these ones. These ones are... Everything else is probably right because this one table gets pulled in from a different website. So... We'll just have to check. It doesn't matter. And then I've already refreshed. I went through and kind of screened for stocks. There's a decent amount of things I found. I got 9 tickers to look at, which is pretty good. In insiders, I haven't been able to find too much lately. So a few things kind of interest me, but either they're not cheap enough or there's just not much. I meant to check Eagle. What's Eagle doing? Eagle's been pretty good. I bought Eagle on one of these dips and I like missed one of these tops in here. I don't know if it was here or if it was last year and I bought down here somewhere on one of these, and I think I think it was whatever day it like dropped because I ended up getting in. I got out like somewhere in here, so it was a decent gain. But I don't typically buy like that anymore. So it's a good company in my opinion, at least. It's just suffering from dry shipping, but so is the market. Whatever. But there was a huge, insider buy there. 10 million. I'm not even sure who that was, but that's bullish, obviously. And yeah, other than that, I don't have too much to go through else on the dashboard today. Stuff's kind of all over. It wasn't like there wasn't a lot of like big movers. There was like both days. It was, even though the market itself was up and down quite a bit of percentages, it probably because of the inflation coming in a little hot, and people are talking now maybe there'll be only 2 rate cuts. If you listen to my last stream when I talked, I still think it's kind of surprising that they're even talking rate cuts right now. But maybe they should be, because I feel like the Fed always waits too long and everything swings in one direction, and then they're doing damage control to try and catch it. So maybe you would want to slow it down. But then again, you know, it was the complaint in the 70s is that inflation ran hot because they didn't, you know, stay harsh enough on it for long enough. So maybe just holding it here right now to see kind of what happens is the smart move. I don't know. That's not really my thing. So, but anyways, let's go over to the fundamentals. I had BNED just pulled up just because obviously that's the stock for today. I mean, this is it. We are down to the wire here. If you guys have been watching the stream, you know we've been bullish on BNED for a while. And if you guys have any questions or anything, you want to get filled in on anything, just let me know. I'll go over kind of anything right now to see where we're at. I was just going through some of the updated comments on like Seeking and some of the other websites that we've been talking about BNED with. You know, and I feel like most people are kind of in agreement that it sounds like a refinance. You know, he was saying, it says the filings one sentence. I have it pulled up here too, so if you didn't get a chance to see it today, it's just this small 8K form, and literally all it says is on April 10th, Barnes & Noble's Education and lenders under its existing asset-based credit facility agreed to extend the previous disclosed milestone with respect to entering into a binding commitment letter for low liquidity and refinancing transaction from April 10th to April 12th as the company continues to negotiations to satisfy such milestones. And that's all it said. So, it's an amendment, and it already's talking about, you know, a binding commitment letter for a liquidity and refinancing transaction, which to me sounds like a straight refi. You know, they've mentioned previously in the I think it was in the 10Q, that's where they had initially said something about possible dilution. So I'm not saying this takes it off, but like they don't mention it anymore. The past two filings haven't said anything about it really. So I take that as relatively bullish in terms of it sounds to me like they're just working on making sure that all parties are happy with this refinance. You know, Bank of America obviously has to consider going forward, and you know, but I think with the Department of Education changes or failure to change essentially, and what was I saying? I just lost my train of thought. Either way, doesn't matter. I guess just FDC turning things around, you know, and like we all said, they're going to become free cash flow positive. They're already operating. Are they already free cash flow positive? I keep saying that. Yeah, they are free cash flow positive. I guess it's net earnings positive, even better. They're going to have earnings. So, super bullish on that aspect. I mean, it depends on how you measure. I use a simple free cash flow calculation, so it's not probably super accurate compared to what some people will, if you're doing like a full like discounted cash flow or something like that, which I don't do. I don't really care. I don't need to. But not to say it's not useful, but you know, it's just so many, there's so many like little nuances to doing a proper discounted cash flow, and there's so many variables you have to add in anyways. I always think it's just like real overkill, and that, you know, it doesn't mean you're right even if you put it all out there. This is just from Twitter or X. You know, this was me talking, but Lake Cornelia put out one a few hours ago. It says his take on it is AK's out saying that the company has 2 more days. BAC, or Bank of America, is in the driver's seat, is the bank lender. Recent updates to the opt-out and in-policy debate have been very positive. Doesn't feel like this is going to get foreclosed, but has been very messy and traded like garbage. They got to deal with lenders, and this can work well. If not, well, we'll say this. Foreclosing on this would be biting off your nose to spite your face, which is one of the things we've talked about, because if Bank of America pushes this into Chapter 11, like they're going to lose a ton of money doing that. It's not... They don't really have hard assets like a lot of like other companies do. So it's contracts, and they're not going to get any money from those contracts because of the law structure, which BLCM goes in depth into, and we've talked about it before. Just as a quick basis, it won't work that way, because the schools technically, as you break the contracts, would be the ones who would have the rights to the because they broke the contracts, they'd get the money first. So it actually wouldn't make the lender as the first person to get money out of BNED. BNED would owe the institutions first. So that's why he's saying that it doesn't make sense that you would push it into foreclosure. But he says a decent roll by the creditors, even if it comes with 19.9% penny warrants, which is, he's saying even if they dilute for some reason on top of it with warrants, he's like the stock could easily get to $1.50 to $2. And actually, that's what I thought. If you look at my comment, I said this earlier. I don't remember who it was from. Oh, he was asking where I see the stock price, and I said if they dilute, I see it just shy of $2 is what I calculate, and I think without dilution, and this is on a probably more around a 2-year basis, but who knows? It's not my thing to calculate going out. It's more just how the market starts to treat a company now that starts to generate earnings and pays its debt down. I see $4 to $5, so which is also why I'm obviously so bullish. This is it's my largest position. So that's why I continue to be so bullish, because I really think the upside here is massive. Don't get me wrong, it is still technically binary. The more I look at it, the less bankruptcy makes any sense to me. But maybe the dilution or maybe the refinance deal is just terrible, which I don't know why BNED would even accept it at that point. I mean, you don't want to run them into the ground. It's still, no matter what, if you push them into bankruptcy, it's still the same issue. So it doesn't make any sense to me that you do that. Is there anything else on, is that what I meant to do, on seeking, or not seeking, on private investor said the same thing, looking like a straight refi. He's talking to Courage and Conviction. So in general, it seems like kind of the conversation, although it's only a few of us, I still feel like that are really paying attention to this. Although volume was decent today. I mean, still had 725,000 shares change hands for a, small market cap. This is a 30, mid-30s market cap right now. Obviously a good day for BNED as people are pricing in the information. Probably people are starting to form their thoughts. There was some conversation on Seeking today. And, the same people that are kind of bearish put out their opinions, but I still don't think they really added. They're still just reading it the exact opposite of what we are, so it doesn't really matter at this point. Ilmode's kind of in agreement with us. He's like, I don't think they're going to go bankrupt. Also, they're continuing negotiations, which sounds to me like the buyer is holding out for some concessions on an asset sale. So we've also talked asset sales, mergers, all those things are on the table. When I think of like what is something you'd have like a long form conversation about it, bankruptcy doesn't come to mind. Bankruptcy is not this thing that like you would just declare it and then you'd solve all that stuff afterwards. Things that come to mind are like asset sales, mergers, like those are things where there's a lot of negotiations. Things are going to take a while. If it's an actual refinance and the Bank of America is making sure that they underwrite this properly, and that they're looking at what are the actual prospects and what's going to realistically get them their money and make a good deal for them, but also allow the company to continue to thrive, which benefits them to get their money back. And also BNED has to agree on that contract as well. So I guess I know the lenders are in control here, so I don't know how much they can wiggle there, but technically they're not bankrupt until December anyways. So we'll have to see, which is another thing. I don't know why you'd push this into bankruptcy 6 months before. I mean, you never know what could happen. Someone could come in and buy this and solve the issue as well. So that's one, just other reasons I think bankruptcy is off the table. And then a gold miner who's always been bearish. Well, I guess this was before it came out, because he was saying that they needed to update the filing, and Hendrick has been bearish too. He's a short. So although we were talking and we were saying that we think his short position's around 70 cents, so he might even be losing money on his short position right now. So we'll have to see. I don't know. Maybe he'll flip flop and join us. He's a trader anyways. I've learned. just through kind of looking at this, to take what he's saying kind of with a grain of salt, because he's just trying to get quick money on something like this. Hey, what's up, Value Hunter? How you doing, man? Welcome to the Laughing Stock. Just going through different comments and stuff on BNED and all that. So they continue to say, Henrik is just saying that he expects it to still be a shareholder dilution substantially in case of an out-of-court refinancing transaction, which I don't know what that necessarily has to do with what we're talking about. It's obviously that they're... he's saying, I guess, out of bankruptcy. That's what he thinks. That's the only thing he thinks they can do. He doesn't think they have any other things up their sleeve. And then Omo just says, like, well, if not, then he would say, then, in case that manages to refinance without major dilution for common shareholders, I would expect shares to rally. So obviously, there's really not too much to add to that. But so same two people, Henrik and Gold Seattle, or whatever, Seattle Gold Miner. Those two have been bearish the whole time. So those are, they just point out the same thing, that they just, I guess, read it differently than us. I still stand that at this price and whatnot, like, does equity dilution really make sense here? I would rather them throw or offer preferred shares or something to Bank of America. I think that would make more sense. Bank of America is going to have more of a longer hold then. They don't have to just do the debt. They can continue to make money off that, and they can sell the preferred shares if they want at some point too. So we'll see. We'll see what goes on. There's a different form of debt too. It helps. The reason why I like preferred shares is because it also helps BNED, because they don't have the interest payments. So, but we're creeping up in the after hours. Technically the stock's up almost 15%, which who knows? Maybe it's just, the news to me, like I said, it looks good, but it's up to anybody. It's just there's not much to go on. So I just read it, and to me it doesn't sound like they're talking. They're saying it's a binding commitment letter for a liquidity and refinancing transaction, which sounds like they're just talking about refinancing the debt. They're not talking anything more complicated than that. Now, granted, maybe they can't say any more than that, but I don't know. They said they mentioned before substantial dilution, but now they don't say it anymore. So they're just talking about a credit amendment. So the good news is we'll know tomorrow, because this specifically says they have to finalize this by tomorrow. It's Friday anyway, so it's not like they're going to carry this into the weekend. We might have to wait till after hours, obviously, because they have tomorrow to continue to talk it through. So. But it could be, it could be any time tomorrow. So it's going to be another day of waiting and checking your phone a million times, or if you're on a computer. I haven't checked Reddit. How many? There's 95 comments. A few of us have just commented. This is stuff from before. And just talking about, this was before they said about the extension this morning, which is what I commented on. And then, what's this one? Oh yeah, I saw this guy earlier. I disagree with him, just because I don't think he even knows what's going on here, just by the way he's saying this. Says they had to meet certain liquidity requirements by April 10th, and they could not do it. They're negotiating a new deal and extending it until the 12th. If this fails, they will default on the loan. Well, obvious, but I don't think you've done any actual... when someone's saying that makes me wonder, have you looked into this at all? And then he goes, so see a deal made and we could go to 80 or 90 cents. What makes you think 80 or 90 cents? That makes no sense to me. 80 or 90 cents. We were, on a 6-month chart, we were at two something. I don't even know what the high was. 226 was the range. Why would we go to 80 or 90 cents? That's the highest you think on bullish news that the company's going to survive? On bullish news and the company's surviving, we're well over $2. And this is why I say, I picture if this continues to grow, it's going to start to get priced in, that growth, and then we'll have to see how they do in the third quarter, or in the first quarter. It's the third. It's this fall semester, which is their first quarter of the year or whatever. But either way, we'll have to see what happens there. And the other thing too, in the next quarter, because the way the FTC model works is the schools don't have to actually pay back to BNED until after a certain payment period. So some of that stuff missed their last quarter. So they're going to actually have a little bit more revenue coming in for the following Q, which is normally one of their weakest quarters because it's kind of like midsummer. Not many people are buying textbooks and whatnot during that time period. Just less people are taking summer classes. So, so to me, 80 or 90 cents, that's what you think it's going to be? That makes no sense to me. And yes, okay, sure, if it failed, you could go lower than 40, whatever. And then he's saying that they're going to go bankrupt if the deal doesn't. I don't know what he's saying, because he's saying if the deal fails, then they're going to do a dilutive raise of cash to survive, pricing sub 40. And then he says, also remember, this is a highly cyclical business, and the 2 best quarters have already passed. You're so behind on this. Yes, the 2 best quarters have passed, but you're not. You're looking in the review mirror. Like, I feel like this is someone who pulled up like a like on FinViz and just looked at the recent financials and made all their decisions off that. Like, you got to understand the business a little more and why they're pivoting. In order to say, to say that means to me you don't even know what's going on here. And so he's saying they weren't good, even bad, you could argue. Don't see this reaching 1 before the listing requirement. So I just don't think that person's really understanding what's going on here. Which, I mean, maybe these guys will be right. I'm still pretty confident that this is going to work out. Obviously, I've showed some stuff here, but do your own due diligence if you're still considering getting in on this. But at this point, I think most of us are agreeing that it looks like refinance is what we're going to see tomorrow. What the refinance is, that's the big question. So, and everything else that we say is just speculation on that. There's really no way to know any more than that little bit that we got. But either way, I'm excited. We'll see what comes of it tomorrow. I just had the portfolio up. I was just looking at some of the charts, seeing how things are doing. Is this updated all the way? Are we? Oh, we're at 7:59 right now. So it looks like at market close. I mean, I know it's post market, and the volume. Who knows what the volume is? I know there's a way you can check, but honestly, I don't know. It's under like NASDAQ or something that you can check the volume, which it doesn't really matter. At this point, it's like I said, it's pretty good volume today. So. I'll take that for what it is. That means, we end at maybe almost a $40 million market cap here. We're slowly climbing up towards it. But, I mean, we'll know real soon. You can just kind of watch the chart tomorrow because you'll know when the news comes out, because this thing is either going to go off or it's going to go quite a bit down. So, one thing I'd recommend, I've had some people ask me, what they expect to do. I'm gonna have to read the notes. I'll be just trying to keep an eye on it. If you guys are concerned, I always think solid advice, especially in these situations, is if news comes out and you think it's bad news, you can set a stop loss or something like that if you think you want to bounce out of it, if you don't want to get killed on it. But that's your own choice. I mean, that's I typically use stop losses, but in BNED, it's one of those very rare situations where I'm not worried about using a stop loss. I don't care, and I think we're gonna make it. I think we're gonna make it through tomorrow. So, so we'll see. We're getting close to the end here. Really close, even though we've said it here like 10 times between Johnny and I. And then it'll be interesting to kind of update things and take things as we go. Because the other thing, too, is, okay, let's say BNED is successful, and where does it go from there? Well, if they successfully refinance this, at least a year out, I would expect you would refinance at least a year, probably 2 years is what my guess would be. It would be in BNED's benefit, especially, well, we're not really sure where rates are going to be. So, it'll affect the interest on these things. But, obviously their goal will be to start to get this debt down to a more controllable level so this isn't a constant issue. But they got to get that cash flowing. And this is why it's like so tight, this narrow window for these guys is, you know, they had to get this, you know, refinanced right now. So then that free cash flow that they start to generate, they can get that to pay that interest rate down, which will continue to increase earnings. And then they can start to return that value to shareholders. And that's where you're going to see the stock really appreciate. So this could be a still somewhat long play. So, you know, I'm not saying, you know, I'm not trading this, you know, I'm going to continue to be invested in this. So, but, you know, I like I said, it's also a really large position for me. So it makes total sense that if it starts to do well, why would you, you know, you don't cut your winners, especially when they're going to do really well. So, and I really do see, I could see easily $4, you know, by the end of next year, if everything continues to go well for the company. So, you know, it's totally worth, I think my cost basis is, I think it's low 80s right now is what I got it down to. I did have a pretty large purchase early on when they first had the bad news, so I was always working to get that cost down, but I bought a ton of shares when it was down in like the upper 50s to bring that cost basis down. So either way, we'll take it from there. We'll see where things go. Hopefully I can get some sleep tonight so I'm not thinking about this stupid company. And then hopefully, I hope the news comes earlier than later tomorrow, so I don't have to wait all day again. It's gonna make my Friday drag so bad, but we'll see. And I don't think there was anything else to add. If you guys have anything that you want to add, value, if you've seen anything that I missed, please comment. But I think that's all I have for BNED right now. So we can start to go through some fundamentals on some of the different companies today. I've been in and out of Superior Industries. They are engaged in designing and manufacturing aluminum wheels for sale to original equipment manufacturers and to the aftermarket in Europe. Company designs, engineers, and manufactures a wide variety of products utilizing the latest lightweight and finishing technologies. They had a really good it was in COVID years when I was more interested in these guys. So, you know, it's one of those companies too that pops up every once in a while. So I missed this totally. You know, I saw it trading down here, and I probably should have been paying more attention to it too, just because I do know this company. And you know, it's not going bankrupt. So when it starts to creep down to 250 and stuff like that, like it was struggling. Don't get me wrong; it's been struggling, but it's not bad. I mean, it's still generating good cash flow. You know, it suffered earnings wise. It was a bad year for them. But I mean, it was like a total sell off here. And let me just adjust my leverage calculator. You know, because even with my leverage assisted, I get like 350 ish. You know, so. And you're going to say, okay, the price is $4, so you know, why am I interested at 350? Well, it's my point. That's why we tend to have these really conservative values, because yeah, 350 is not anything incredible, but when it's trading at, you know, in like 250 or something like that, then all of a sudden that's pretty interesting to me that it could, you know, trail up. You know, it kissed 450 here. This is a 3-year chart, so on a 1 year, yeah, we almost got to 460. So sometimes when you hold these kind of companies and they have any kind of good news, that reversion to a mean of some sort, it just kicks in, and it kind of, you know, in terms of valuation and whatnot, and just market pessimism with narrative, some of these things just get so priced out that to me it makes sense. Now, yeah, maybe I might not have bought, because honestly, if I was looking at this, you know, you got a negative book value right now. So that's a concern. Just looking, you know, their debt's not due. They have quite a bit of cash just sitting on hand. So really, it was just a poor year for earnings, which, you know, I think the car industry in types of, you know, it's going to struggle right now, because this is a lot of like higher end products and stuff like that. So it doesn't mean that people are going out and putting nice rims on their car and things like that. You know, like, it's probably going to be a slow market for a little bit, but this is still a company that kind of interests me when it trades low. It's been around for a while, so I think there's something here. Sorry, this keeps opening up on my wrong. Let's see if I can get this to start sticking over here. Oh, Kingdom's in this one? I must have read this. 260 comments, huh? Oh, Mill Roads. That's right. Mill Roads is a huge owner of them, and they were buying a lot, especially as the share price really tanked. But I haven't looked at this article in a while, so I'm not sure exactly where. You know, they're talking about, you know, obviously the whole car industry matters for these guys. Jay Yoon's saying that they could restructure some of their debt. Let me see what the actual structure of their debt is right now. This is their 10K from 3.7, so this is about a month old. And actually, how much of this is actually debt? Okay, most of it is actual debt. They have preferred stocks. That's one thing that always is like, 150,000 shares outstanding. Whatever. Just something to think about, though. So this term loan facility is what he's talking about. Sorry, it's weird that they put this like up. I'm not used to them doing it in this way where the 2022 is down here and 2023 is up here. Yeah, and he's just saying that that weighted average interest rate is super high for that term loan. That is super high. I wonder if they could refinance that. When is that term loan from? So 244 is due in 2025. So they're good for this year. Next year, it's going to be a little tight. They do have a revolving credit facility. That's from 2022, so just kind of tough timing. This says, oh, that's a revolving credit facility. That 396. Okay, so that one though is due in 2028. Yeah, so that's the other thing too, is they're gonna be hanging on to that one for a while. So you know, if they can get that to refinance where they're not paying that interest for that long, because that's a long time to have to pay that high interest. I mean, they are slowly paying it down, but it's not very quick. I mean, they were probably in a time crunch too when they took that money out, because they took it in 22 and the interest rate then was 12.3, and now it's gone up a whole percent. So probably just kind of crappy timing. And this is redeemable preferred. Perpetual convertible preferred stock. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. So some of these have been converted. I vaguely remember. Did I comment on that? No, it's been a while. Yeah, this is probably why, because the last time I valued them, I only got $3. So that's probably why I wasn't interested when it got down that low, because it still wasn't cheap enough for me. Because now I'm getting 346. This is why I say too, like, you know, I do adjust my valuation calculator, so I I like it better as time's gone on. I think it's more accurate in terms of how I want it to be. I'm trying to have a kind of a quick one-stop calculator for a million different companies with all these, different structures. So it's not like it's always going to be super efficient, but still sometimes some of the you'll see, especially if it's something I valued a long time ago, like if it's like 2 years out or 3 years out, especially, it's going to be quite a bit different. But I will say, actually, when I look through my database, a lot of the ones that have gone bankrupt, I priced them basically for bankruptcy, so it makes me feel better that I called some of these. I just wanted to go back to Seeking's main page and just see. An earnings call transcript to see. So it looks like they're going to refinance that stuff that's due next year. CEO owns 6%. This guy's hoping for $20. Yeah, and what's aluminum been doing? Let me actually click on it to make sure it's the right number. It's kind of creeping back up right now. But I mean, that's a 10-year, this is a 20-year chart. So yeah, I mean, nothing crazy. It's actually might be reaching kind of a pretty normal peak. It looks like it peaks and then keeps dropping back down. It's done that tons of time, and this is a 20-year chart. So we could see some cyclical, as the price of those things come back down, that will benefit them, obviously. I just want to see if they had a recent presentation. Look at them wheels. All right, blah, blah, blah. Net sales up 2% year over year. Said, well, industry volumes are down 9% versus the same year. So that's versus 2019. Why are they comparing it to 2019? Anyways, value adds flat, adjusted EBITDAs, content per wheel, strong unlevered free cash flow. They do have good free cash flow. They're adjusting their net debt down. What is their net their debt historically? So they've actually kind of held this pretty similar debt level. They're starting to probably creep it down now because obviously those interest rates are starting to cut in a little bit deeper. which is kind of the problem when you know people take on this debt and they get used to running their company with a certain amount of debt. You know you're financing yourself to try and take advantage of you know making your equity and making your actual you know earnings per share more productive. But then if the interest rate changes and that's how you've been running the business, it's tough to kind of change from that. So, I mean, they're breaking up. It is a good point. I see. Okay, now I see why they're using 2019. They're just saying over the past few years that the industry has declined by 9%, which, you know, with COVID and everything going on is not surprising. And, you know, they've been able to kind of pivot through it and actually increase sales and their margins. Looks like they relocated production to Poland, should generate some extra cash. They're just showing that they're, you know, better than the actual market is. Yeah, in the past I had thought it was just a pretty well-run business, and you know they're just kind of running into a bit of a snafu here with the debt. But honestly, I don't, you know, if they're refinancing already for next year, you know, they have a lot of things cyclically that's kind of working against them, and if they get out of that, you know, this I could see why people are saying it could be substantially worth more, which is true. I mean, if these numbers improve, which, like I said, I mean, even on a simple free cash flow, yeah, they're down in comparison to some of these good, better years they've had. But I mean, they've had ugly years and bounced back well. You know, $4 in free cash flow, or you know, almost $7 in cash flow from operations. COVID was obviously a really rough year for them, which is probably why the book value got murdered. But they can work on that. And they haven't killed shareholders with any kind of stupid equity or anything. I mean, they used to pay a pretty good dividend. I mean, the stock price was obviously a lot higher back then, but still they were giving something back to shareholders as kind of a stick with us. And last year, you know, earnings-wise was pretty good, so it's just kind of a tough bounce back down with the industry. All right, well, I still don't think it's quite cheap enough here for me, but I still like that company. Yeah, and the other thing too is I probably should take out a little bit of this valuation due to the preferred shares, but I won't go crazy. It doesn't really matter. But something to always think about is the fact that they have preferred shares too. So like that dividend that they were giving out, you know, they had to give out a dividend first, obviously, to preferred, which looks like they haven't paid actually out on that preferred, but that was just a Mazzane or whatever, and then it was converted, so that's probably why the share count actually increased a little bit here. So maybe it's not that big of a concern if most of it's converted, actually. But, all right, let's go back to the database here. Is there anything else to add on this one? No, I think that's good for now. I just want to pull up the insider real quick. So Mill Road Capital. It's been a while though since they bought, but they were buying in the mid threes, and you know, a decent amount. I mean, between just a few weeks there, It's a pretty good buy. And oh, and they bought back here too earlier in the year. So between last year, I mean, they added pretty substantially, almost $1 million. All right, so the next one I have is Leslie's Incorporated is a direct-to-consumer brand in the United States pool and spa care industry. I don't think I've ever heard of these guys. Company serves the aftermarket needs of residential and professional consumers with an assortment of essential pool and spa care products. More than 80% of its assortment is comprised of non-discretionary products essentially to the care of residential and commercial pools and spas, which is good. The company's assortment includes chemicals, equipment parts, cleaning and maintenance equipment, and safety, recreational, and fitness-related products. Blah, 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 blah. Pool stuff. And they do have a portfolio. It's just you know, of e-commerce websites, including Leslie's and In the Swim. So, speaking of chemicals, I know chlorine is like super expensive lately. I don't own like a pool, but kind of happy I don't own a pool. Hearing what some people always deal with pools, but so haven't been around for too long. Right off the rip, they are pretty levered, unless that's all leases, which I doubt. Revenues are kind of stagnant the past few years. Margins are okay. There's another one with negative book value. You know, not generating much. They don't have much cash. They're liquidity wise, and they have a lot of debt here. And I mean, they are generating income, but this last year wasn't very impressive. So, looks like SG&A costs have gone up quite a bit, and their actual margins suffered this last year too. So we'll have to figure out where that debt's actually coming from. Free cash flow positive, actually still earnings positive, and this was actually their worst year of the past 4 years. And it looks like they did a decent sized acquisition last year, but that didn't really add much. So that's kind of disappointing. It's trading at $4.59. I get almost $3.50 as fair value, so it's a little expensive for me. But I also don't have a ton of data to go off of here. You know, this is trying to use 7-year averages and stuff, so that number is not really super accurate. See if anybody owns it. How many outstanding shares are there? There's 184 million. I mean, there's a decent. I mean, it's actually quite a bit of a industrial or institutional ownership here, which is kind of surprising. Some of these people have been buying pretty substantially, 4 million shares. Let's see what's going on with that debt. They just filed something. I just want to see what this is. So it looks like they just had a credit amendment. Everyone's amending their credit right now. Extended the revolving credit facility to 2029. into a SOFR and base rate loans. All right. Yeah, most of it's actual debt. They've gotten their inventories down a little bit from 2022. There's probably room to push that down. Annoying amount of goodwill. I don't even know what that company was that they bought, but whatever they paid, it sounds stupid. Is the sander here? No, it's just talking. And maybe that's just normal inventories for them too. I mean, like I said, they did bring them down a little bit. So it looks like it's going to be 28 and 29 that everything's due here, really. So they have plenty of time, actually. So the debt's really not that big of a concern right now for them. So got plenty of time to kind of get their ducks in a row here. Looks like the market loves them. All right, come on. So undisputed market leader in the U.S. with over 1,000 locations, which is more than its 20 largest competitors combined. That's pretty impressive, actually. I mean, that's... They've been doing acquisitions to stay at that top. So we need some hot weather. Weather, you know, we've got to get people to want to be in their pools more. I feel like it's rained a lot where I live. I don't know about where you guys live, but I feel like it's like the all week it's beautiful out, and then Saturday and Sunday come and it just rains, and then you're back to work. This honestly didn't really say all that much. You know, I could have gotten that from what I've gotten my things here. So whatever. They use the same picture. Isn't that nice? They're all just saying that the actual stores themselves are terrible and the products are overpriced. What like I was just saying, I don't think I've ever been here. I just want to actually see, like, what does their webpage look like. So I mean, they just everything to do with pool. I mean, honestly, this is the other thing too. If they turn to a completely online, like I imagine with pool supplies and stuff, like if you could get people to do like a Chewy style thing online, that would be beneficial, and they could get rid of some of these the lease costs here. I know some. I mean, I know you got to go to a pool place to see some pools, but I don't know. Maybe I guess maybe it's worth just having the actual retail space. What's in the clearance section here? They don't have a clearance section? Oh, they do. Okay. Just random stuff. Jacuzzi light is $840. That seems expensive. All right. Well, like I said, it's a little expensive for me. I'll take a peek at the actual chart here. I mean, but up here it's super expensive. So this might start to get interesting if it continues to kind of trickle down here a little bit. Just looking at technicals, it looked like as it bounced once again below RSI, it did bounce. So if you're more of a trader, something to watch. But I mean, we're almost at all-time lows here too. So granted, it usually takes time for companies to reach my all-time lows, just because. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't need to search. It's at the bottom here. Value Hunter said that he pulled the trigger on NUTX company. Sent you the ticker a few weeks back. They did a 1 to 15 share consolidation earlier this week and promptly dropped market cap in half. Picked up a few. Think the market is mispricing it. I'm off for now because the rest of the stream later today. All right, man. Have a good one. Yeah, I'll have to peek at NUTX again. I don't think I've looked at it since the stream that you and me were checking it out. So, but nice, good to know. Thanks for the tip. I'll take a peek at it. So far, these first two haven't done anything for me. So it's too young. It's too expensive. Just kind of needs more. It actually has, I'd say, good fundamentals. It has high debt, which it's refinancing. I don't think there's much else to say for that. I said 360, so we can put. Here, while I'm here, I'm just going to pull up just so I can remember where I was at here. Yeah, this is a risky one that you hopped in here. It's usually more my style. Let's see here. I do get. I mean, it's definitely cheap. You could argue on a book value. And this one's tough to value too because the numbers are because the share count really is only from the past 2 years. You said they did a 1 for 15 share consolidation. Wait, consolidation? So how many shares are currently outstanding? I just want to double check that. said 745, and now there's 45. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Interesting. Oh, that's why these numbers are really messed up too, because now there's a now let's do that share consolidation. All right. Oh yeah, okay. It's I get what you're saying. What is revenues doing right now? They're not exactly strong right now. I just want to look at it on a chart. Yeah, I mean, probably just due to the illiquidity, you're going to see this drop in price now due to the fact there's a lot less shares. But I mean, this is where it's probably worth starting to follow these guys, because from here we can start to see what they can do. But these numbers do got to improve. You know, even though they kind of bounce around, they had some strangely good years and strangely bad years. Like I said, my issue is my numbers are all over the place because these stupid share counts. So, all right, well, I'll keep an eye on them. You know, I don't think I'm going to add anything right now to it, but we will continue to take a peek at them. So next one I got is ZUMZ. You know, they're one of the stores in the malls. You know, if you know ZUMZ, you know ZUMZ. So it looks like they've been doing share buybacks, which makes the book value look worse, but it's actually a good thing. Earnings are down this year. Previously, they had pretty good earnings, and free cash flow has been down the past few years. So just revenues. Revenues are down quite a bit. SG&A costs have gotten ridiculous for this guys. For almost 40% now. And I wonder if, I mean, I doubt they're super highly levered actually, because I would imagine that this is almost all operating leases. Who's the insider that bought? I think that's why I pulled them up. There was an insider buy. There's been a lot of buys at this price. Here, I just want to close out some of these tabs here. take a peek, see what's going on. BNED finally closed that. Up 5%, yeah. So they made it to 75 in the after hours. All right. You know, historically, they generated really good numbers. And the fact that they're not like poorly levered makes it pretty safe. We'll see how much of this is actually operating leases. 159. So almost all of it, like I thought. All right, well, that's good. Just trying to see where they... So they had a huge impairment of goodwill. So this number is actually kind of bogus a little bit because that 43 million would come off there. So they were down, but not nearly as down as it looks. All right. I mean, honestly, you know, they're kind of struggling right now, but they're in a fine position, so it doesn't really matter. So at 1481, I get 2170. It's been a little bit since I so I get a buy is pretty close to where we're at. I get 1446 as a buy here. We can take out too expensive. It's definitely not that. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm thinking. I don't think this is necessarily like a buy right down here, but it's a good one to follow because he's saying too. Like I agree, it's a really good balance sheet, and if they can somehow get some of these sales back up. They'll be in a good spot. No one's really commenting on this. Holiday season was down. Yeah, I kind of agree. It's interesting, yeah, but yeah, there's just not much else going on right now. So we'll keep an eye on it. You know, a good one that maybe if this starts to get really cheap, or because you know, it might interest me if they have like another bad year or so, and then they start to get a little bit closer to be able to make it through. That could possibly become interesting. We got 846 here. All right. Next, I got Caesarstone. It's an Israeli-based manufacturer of engineered quartz. Didn't I look at these guys not that long ago? Because we were talking about the war and all that, and that's why they were struggling. Well, it's been about almost 4 months now. It's funny I say that. It's down 16%, huh? Oops, that's not what I want to do. So it looks like they spiked and then we're down. And I was looking at them way back here. Yeah, the risk on this, I mean, number one, everything's been really struggling with the risk now is that they're at war. See, the problem too is like not only is it like is it bad for him, but it's like the past 2 years have been really bad for him. I mean, they don't have too much in debt, which is why, you know, it's part of the reason why I'm getting such a high valuation for them. And cash flow is down, like it looks all red in here, but I mean it's still positive. You know, I mean, even simple free cash flow is positive right now. But it hasn't translated into earnings. So these really low margins here is what's killing this business. Let's see if anyone's commenting at all. This is from 2023. Yeah, I mean, you know, they're just saying that they got to get people interested in these quartz surfaces, which I do think there's actually some want for that. I mean, you know, a lot of people like quartz because it's so strong. You know, you know, obviously it's not the premise that marble or that granite has for like countertops and stuff, but still. Interesting. Looks like they were paying a dividend, cut that. It's probably a good thing in this case. Yeah, I don't honestly. I'm not seeing too much else to go into right now. Let me see if let me just look at like one of their investor reports and just see what the last presentation. I think it was right below there, but whatever. You can't do like mid-screen. Okay, I guess we'll go full screen. So they're trying to kind of change where you would want to put this stuff to make it more accessible. It is nice looking. Anything about what's actually going to happen here? Annualized savings of $15 million commencing in 2023. Annualized savings of $20 million commencing in 2024. Working capital reduction in the amount of $87 million. So annually that'll save them over $30 million. They're going to need that $30 million. So a lot of porcelain in it. That's interesting. So historically, things were going well. I think I wonder if it's just the war, if that's what's really killed this, because otherwise this is, I mean, it's overdone in terms of what's going on here. So how did this trade before? Like, now I want to look at like a 5-year. Yeah, way higher. Yeah, because that's what I'm kind of surprised. And obviously the market here doesn't really know how to price this, because I mean, you know, this spikes from the $4 range up to almost $6, and that's in like 2 or 3 days. And I mean, decent volume, you know, in terms of overall, but not that much crazy volume for all things considered. How many shares outstanding do they have? 35 million. All right, let me just do some quick math here, just to try and price in the cost of war. All right. Because the war is going on, I'm going to give it around $4 is where I would get interested here. Is there anything else to say about this one? Right, I think that's all I got for those guys. iRobot, I think this was down because what, or wasn't it up like they were gonna sell to Amazon or something? They backed out. I thought they were about to get bought out. Or they got spun off or something. I don't know. So this last year's been kind of rough. Last 2 years, really. Took out a substantial amount of debt here to stay alive. I mean, they have a good amount of cash still right now. Earnings have been ugly. Margins are really bad. Not sure quite what's going on there. Is anyone buying these anymore? Does anyone have an iRobot that they actually enjoy? Like one of these little things? Like, I don't know. My mom had one for a while, and I feel like it was like okay at what it did, and I don't know. Wasn't all that impressed by it. But that was a while ago. I mean, I don't know how long ago. So maybe they've gotten better. But I mean, these are ugly numbers. This is really getting dragged down here. We're talking a pretty substantial dilution here. That book value is declining pretty quickly too. So it was European regulation that shut it down. Yeah, it has a brand name, but they won't let someone buy it, which makes a problem. Yeah, and they say $10 to $12 target range, which you know, my calculation is trying to pull in the price increase from the past year here. Where is this? We just cut that out real quick. Yeah, it looks expensive to me. All right, we'll adjust this one. I had a valuation on $9 last time. That's not too far off actually for what I'm thinking. Yeah, honestly, I don't think I'm even going to adjust this because I do want a discount on where it stands. Failed. Can update that. We can take this out. I mean, it does have a brand name, so whatever. I guess I could have left that in, but I'm going to take that out for now. All right. So next is ZVIA. PBC is a beverage company. It develops, markets, sells, and distributes beverages made with plant-based ingredients. It offers a portfolio of zero sugar, variety of flavors. So it's like healthy drinks, not loaded with sugar and some of the other BS that's in some of the stuff we all drink here. And it is struggling mightily. It's safe for now, but I'm imagining that they're burning through their cash relatively quickly. It's pretty small market cap. Basically no debt, which is good. But no earnings either. Although it's getting closer. What is this? What does this even look like? I don't think I know these. ZVIA. I don't think I've seen this brand. Net sales increased 6.9%. That's huge. Because it does look like they're slowly moving in the right direction here, just from what I could tell. I mean, they're still new, but although this kind of makes things look a little bit all over. Total 2-year growth was 11%. Not a huge growth there. So how much cash do they have left? How much time we got here before things really become a problem here? They're losing about 15 million, so they have at least 2 years before they have to get this figured out here. All right. I mean, there's not too much to say about this, just because they're going to have to continue to expand if they continue to market themselves well and not. But they are tight on time. It's good to see that they are in bigger stores, because that's a big thing. Is it all with stevia? Is that why it's called ZVIA? Is that what these clever people did? Unless it was actually in their drinks. Does it tell you what's in one of these things? Yeah, it's all stevia. .45 milligrams of caffeine, so it's, I think that's similar to like Coke. Well, they got a good mix of flavors. I'd be curious to try one. That's like, honestly, like that'd be a big thing for me. It's like just trying it, making sure it tastes like somewhat okay. I actually like some of the healthier drinks. Like I don't some of the actual sodas, especially here in the States too. Like some of them, it's like too sweet for me. I know that's kind of the point of soda, but I guess I don't really drink soda all that often anymore. All right, so it's too young right now, no earnings, just kind of needs more. Low debt right now. Yeah, I think that's all for now. It's really just is it a fast grower is really like the question. Is can this kit grow? I'll say 2 years of cash left. So they got 2 years to kind of figure out where they're going. So you kind of think of this one like an option, you know. As we hone in on that 2-year mark, the valuation will start to lower probably. What's it trading at? $1 right now, $1.08. And I get $1.15, so not much over that, to be honest. So I would want it a little cheaper at this point just because it's so unproven. before I would delve in something like this, but either way. Yeah, so mine's saying like 77 cents, somewhere around there. What does the chart historically look like? Straight down. People have not been impressed. All right, here. All right, we got 910 here. You can probably do at least one more here. Another company I haven't looked at, nice and red already. I can see it's right on the laughing stocks kind of stocks. It's a technology and manufacturing company which is engaged in producing material solutions for its customers. The company provides advanced material solutions for the transportation, automotive, energy, computing, internet, blah, blah, blah. Holy smokes, they provide things for everything. Primary metal solution is a metal matrix composites. Company's products and intellectual property address critical needs in a variety of applications, including electric trains, subway cars. Okay, so. And hybrid tech armor panel strike faces for United States Navy. Cool. A lot of debt here. It looks like they're burning through a lot of cash too. Earnings have been pretty rough here past few years. Market cap's super low. You know, it's definitely levered, highly levered. They do generate pretty good cash flow, or at least this year they did. So that's something to look at. And they did have, I mean, they were positive on an EBITDA basis only, though, not even EBIT. So they did a lot better in the teen years here, because since the 20s, they've only been in like the 2 billion revenue spot. So I don't know if they sold something or what, if it's the interest charge just eating them alive. They are well behind here. Let's double check that debt first and see what's going on there. Gross profit's been good. Operating profit. And then interest expense, net of interest income was 130. That interest is killing them. Pension settlement charges. Yikes. And this Cooper Standard Holdings is losing a ton of money too. Yeah, I don't know. This is really levered. This is too levered for me. So they have the cash right now at least. I would have to see. Management's got to be doing something here to hopefully get this, because everything's due in 27. It's, oh my god. And how much are they burning cash right now? Quite a bit. I think it's just that interest payments are killing them. Yeah, it's too expensive to me no matter what. Anyways, I'll see if anyone's talking, if there's like a turnaround or anything that I'm missing just quickly from these numbers. But this is a little rough for me. This guy's first article, huh? All right, we'll give him a this. Oh, this is an article here. Holy crap! Leader global suppliering of sealing fuel brake delivery fluid systems. Blah blah. When is this from? Pretty recent. Interesting here. I'm just trying to get some context here as I'm reading through this. So he's saying global vehicle production is starting to creep back up because they've been struggling since this downturn. So the biggest thing for them is obviously vehicle manufacturing. So the EV business is good for them. Working with Nike. I just want to know how he's getting this super bullish next like few years. Yeah, I just think with that debt, I mean, it's going to take a little bit while. Sorry, I'm actually reading through a lot of that because I haven't looked at these, and it's I was just surprised that for them to be as bullish as he sounds about it when you have that debt due. I know it's 2027, but they're not. They gotta turn around quite a bit in the next few years. Now, don't get me wrong, if they can get their numbers back to somewhere in this period, but they didn't have these ridiculous interest payments I'm sure that they're paying right now on $1 billion of debt. Who owns this? Thrivent Financial for Lutherans? Interesting. Oh, Mill Street, huh? Diebold, is that what this is? Yeah. And it's new. They bought it in 1954. What are we at right now? Wait, is that right? Wait, when did they bounce at this low? This says 1829. What, my stock price says $1. Is this the right? I don't think. Hang on here. I'm pretty sure my data is all messed up here. Oh, what a pain. Yeah, it's the wrong company it pulled in. There. That makes a big difference. So it's trading at 18.29. I mean, that's still too expensive for me. If I was being super bullish, I could give him 14 bucks right now, but with that debt, the leverage for me is kind of killing this. I'll say 14, but I think that's actually kind of high right now. Needs more turnaround, too expensive. I don't really know how I feel about that narrative. There is high debt, high risk of bankruptcy. Well, actually, the bankruptcy is not that big of a deal because it's in 2027. It is. I mean, it is a high interest rate. I'm gonna say poor fundamentals right now, but it's that's one thing I should put in here too. That this is cyclical. And there was some ownership. There's another one. Is there any insider? No, whoops. No, I'm not seeing too much else. They've kept share count down. I mean, they do currently have cash, but not a ton. I mean, obviously they're going to be liquid for a little bit here, but they took on what seems like a lot of debt for no reason. Because when did that debt start? They just kept bumping it up. Oh, when they really struggled with COVID. Yeah, I don't know if there's much you can do about that, but it is what it is. Well, and it is up, and it's gone down to the $11 range, so it's gone down quite a bit. Down there is where it starts to become interesting, actually. Interesting. So not really anything I see there just yet, but sorry, I thought it was interesting. All right, I think I'm gonna call it there. I know I had a few tickers left, but it's backed holdings, which it's been a minute since I looked even at them. And then just wanted to look at Weight Watchers again, just because it's down so heavy right now. Just wanted to look if there's anything there that they could possibly pull off. I know all the, was it the GLP-1 drugs or whatever, Wegovy and all them have really put a hit on some of these businesses. I think honestly Medifast would be a more interesting play to me than Weight Watchers, but in my wife's portfolio, she made a lot of money on Weight Watchers because I have that more as like a momentum strategy, and when this had its recent rise, it did super well. So I like to take a peek at it just to see what's going on. But what do you call it? We'll go. I just want to peek it real quick just to see if any new news is out. Assuming not. I mean, we're after hours here, so no, nothing there. There won't be anything here. And value investor, if you watch all the way to the end here too, I'd like you to let me know what else you think about NUTX. Like what was more interesting to you? Because for me, just looking at kind of from the outside, I didn't see too much, but I mean, you know my style. I kind of pick over things, and it takes like certain things for me to really catch my eye and then really delve in. And for better or for worse, that's kind of the way I do it. But yeah, let me know what you actually see there and what you like. Sorry, and I gotta remember too that my photo is there too. I hope during the stream you guys were able to see what I was looking at. I gotta remember to always scroll down further than I mean to. And trying to think, was there anything else? That's all good. I'm assuming nothing came out. Let me refresh this. I think that's where it was at before. I mean, it's getting late too, so I doubt anyone's really saying too much here. Nah. All right, well, either way, we'll wait for the news tomorrow. hopefully we get bullish news, we get what we want, and we'll start to see BNED finally turn the corner and get the refinance behind us, and then we can start looking forward to this next year and how the FTC model is going to perform. I think it'd be massively bullish for the stock as we go forward here. So I'm tired, but I'm excited. So got one more day. Should have an answer definitely before the weekend, no matter what. Even if it's not early tomorrow, should be. I mean, by latest after the close, which whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. We'll just wait to see what ends up happening. And then we'll be on Saturday. I think we're going to do our normal time around noon. I do have family in town, so we might adjust it. We'll put it on the Twitter or X. So just keep an eye out for that if you're trying to watch that. I mean, I know. So 12 is still what our normal time is, Eastern 12. So we'll see if anything goes there. I think that's all I got for now. All right, guys. Everybody have a good rest of your week. Hopefully have a nice Friday. Hopefully BNED gives us good news like we're all waiting for here. And then we'll have a good weekend going into things. So cheers, everybody. Have a good night. See you.